evening. This is a nightly news hour. I'm Marsha Noteworthy here with John Trugood.
Political battles continue today in Congress in the debate over international trade. More on that later.
In sports, the Chicago Cubs have won the World Series for the second time. We'll give you the full report next.
But first, the strangest story we've seen in a long time.
That's right, John. This does indeed show that truth is stranger than fiction. We've all heard the legend of Mrs. O'Leary's cow, right?
Yes, the story goes that the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 started when a cow in Miss O'Leary's barn kicked over a lantern while it was being milked. The fire burned the barn and then went on to destroy much of the city of Chicago.
As it turns out, that is just a legend, probably not true. But this story is true. It all started with a simple case of trespass. It seems that two homeless men broke into the Mountain High Church on Monday night and were cooking their dinner in the church kitchen. The food in the pan caught on fire. The men were unable to put the fire out, and they opened the door to throw the burning pan outside.
And here's where it gets strange. Just as men threw open the door, a large bear was wandering through the churchyard. The church is near the mountains, and bears regularly come down looking for food. The bear saw the fire burning in the pan and was frightened, but instead of running away, it ran towards the men and the open church door.
The bear ran inside and apparently in panic wrecked the kitchen, then ran out of the kitchen into the main chapel of the church, where it crashed through the seats and knocked over the main altar. The large cross above the altar fell down and crashed through a large window. The bear managed to escape through the open window and ran back into the hills.
Meanwhile, the fire alarm had been set off by the smoke in the kitchen, and just then the fire department pulled up in their fire truck, joined a minute later by a police car.
The two homeless men were so stunned by the bear that they were still standing outside the church kitchen, watching their dinner burn in the pan.
The fire department extinguished the small fire, and the police arrested the two men for trespassing.
Police are now trying to determine if the homeless men can be charged with all the damage to the inside of the church or not. What do you think, John?
Even though the homeless men started the chain of events by trespassing and cooking in the church, I don't see how they could have anticipated a bear being in the yard running wildly into the church.
Yes, it seems that in this case, the damage to the church was just barely the fault of the trespassers.
Couldn't have said it any better. And speaking of bears, we'll be back in a moment to tell you about the Chicago Cubs.